Hey, Matt, we were just talking, and Gretchen was sharing 6 things that folks are doing to tell stories, to communicate well. And I know you have a question kind of linked to that.
Yeah, well, so Matt, it is super cool to have you joining us all the way from New York City, which is just excellent. I mean, Phoenix is nice, it's warm.
But we don't have pizza here.
But we don't have pizza like you do in New York. So yeah, these 6 things that the great communicators are doing, right? They're challenging the status quo, they're driving culture, they're creating meaningful narrative. Talk to us about how you are embracing these behaviors as you communicate your mission and ministry there at New York.
Well, thanks for having me. It's really great to be with you. And I'd rather be in New York, not New York, Phoenix right now, because it is like literally 1 degree outside. So you've got better weather. But our big thing in communicating what's happening in New York City is making sure that people outside of New York City are able to engage with the ministry that's happening here. Doing urban ministry, especially in a cost-prohibitive place like New York City, requires us to have champions and partners and churches really around the world that are helping to make it happen. And so it's critical for us to not just be able to go to those people and ask them to support us, but really to share the story with them. So a big piece for us is to share the narrative of what God is doing in New York City well beyond the walls of New York City, so that as people, whether they are a partner with us or they are interested in being a partner with us, they can quickly latch on to what the story is that's happening here. And so we do that across every single platform, from Twitter to Facebook to Snapchat. For us, it's really about telling a story. So for example, I send out a monthly newsletter to people outside of New York City who support our ministry. And all I do in that newsletter is tell a story. I tell a story in video of someone who is being impacted by our ministry. And the reason I started doing that is because I did it once the first time. And the second I did that, the readership, the responses, the giving, and everything went through the roof because people were able to connect with the narrative. I heard somebody once say, the person who tells the best story wins. And that was my first time of really believing that truth. And so our big thing is trying to share the narrative of what's happening here with people outside our walls.
That is really, really cool. And one of the things that I think happens as you share that narrative, right, is that you're pursuing curiosity, you're building connections, you're driving that culture. What's been the impact on your culture there in New York as you've connected people to meaningful narrative and story happening in kind of different cultures across the church, across the country?
Well, the biggest thing for us is that our people in our 2 parishes that we've planted here, as we've shared their story outside, they have been able to get an appreciation of the fact that the church, capital C Church, is so much bigger than what's happening in New York. And so there's this reciprocal nature of it. So as we share their story outside, they get a feedback here in New York City that there are all these people outside of the walls of our 2 churches who are championing us and supporting us. And so that spurs them on to greater mission engagement and greater serving and greater outreach, which then gives us more stories to tell of those outside the walls. And so it gets like a positive flywheel effect. So it's not just to share the story outside. As we share the story outside, all of our people are seeing it and they're engaging with it. And it gives us an opportunity to reinforce to them, yeah, here's what's happening here with us, and we're telling the world. And they get some good pride out of that. They get reminded of our values through that. They get to jump online and kind of underscore all the stories and all the wins and all the successes, and they get fueled by it as well. And so it blesses in both directions as we share the story outside the walls through all of the different mediums that we try to.
Matt, if people wanted to connect with you and see or hear more about the stories that Our Savior New York is doing, where would they go? What's the best place to be able to connect with you?
Well, there's a couple. So you can connect with me. I'm the one telling a lot of the stories. You can connect with me on Twitter, Facebook. So Twitter is @MattPopovits, or Snapchat is Matt Popovits, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. One of the cool things we've been able to do at OSNY is develop an app. So if you go into any app store, be it the Google Play Store or the iTunes App Store, and you just search for OSNY or Our Savior New York, you'll find our app, which has links to all of our social media content, all of our message series, everything that we're doing. And you can use that as a gateway into all the stories that we're telling here in New York City.
Outstanding. I bet 800 people just downloaded your app.
I bet they did. Right here. We're blowing it up. We're blowing it up. Hey, Matt, thanks so much for being with us. God bless. And just God bless the ministry that's happening there.
Hey, thanks so much, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.